I came out to my wife in 2006, and you won't believe her response. Hello, I am TJ Schimmold. I am a gay life coach, author, and speaker. And I wanted to share a little bit of my coming out story, being in a straight relationship and having a child. And that puts a lot of emotions and pressure and feelings of guilt and shame. When I finally had accepted that I was gay, but being a clinical psychology major, despite all of my education, I thought, well, I am just going to suppress this. I know it doesn't work, but I will be the first. I'll just push it down. And I tried. And I did try. And we got married, had a child. And this secret I had was difficult to even tell myself. It took quite a tragic incident to finally kind of get that out of me. You see, we were involved in a very severe car accident where I shattered the bones in my left hand, I broke my clavicle, I was blinded in one eye with the airbag going off. And in all of this chaos, pulled myself from the wreckage, brought myself to the edge of the road, and looked up at the blurry stars in the sky as my glasses were gone. And I thought two things to myself. Number one, I can't die. I have a wife who's a stay-at-home mom and a newborn baby, and I need to be able to survive, to have them survive. Number two, I never told my wife that I was gay. So, time went on, healing, 6 hours a day of physical therapy to get my hand back. I was out of work. I was depressed. I'm a magician as well. I had to cancel my magic shows. We had just started a new life in North Carolina. We had moved from Massachusetts down to North Carolina to start a new life as a family. And all of a sudden, it just all kind of blew up by no fault of our own. In the midst of the chaos and the bills and the struggle and emotions and all of that, my wife and I got into her name is Jennifer, we got into this big fight. And I, as emotions run high, I thought, there's no way I can forgive her, and on and on and on. And then that little voice in my head came back and said, you still haven't told her that you're gay. So that immediately changed all these feelings of anger and upset and all of that, and realizing that I've been keeping this secret. So one night we sat down after our baby was put to bed, and it was just the two of us. I said, there's something I want to talk to you about. I think that I'm gay, and I'm not sure what to do with that and what that means, but I've been wanting to tell you. And that's it. And I do work because this was a very emotional moment, a very difficult time in my life, not only because of the physicality, but mentally and all of that. So there's a lot of emotions that run through this because I didn't want to blow up my family. I didn't know what this meant. Do we have to get divorced? Do we, what happens? All these stories in my mind that were just keeping me from telling her. And Jen was then and is now one of my best friends. And so why did I hesitate to tell her? Her response was surprising. So when I first met you, I thought you were gay. I thought you and your best friend there were a couple, which it turns out he turned out to be gay later on in life as well. But we were not a couple. We were friends. So it's like she had known, and that was response number one. That was a little surprising. Response number two. She said to me, TJ, why didn't you tell me earlier? We could have been watching gay videos together, enjoying them together. And that was a bit of a shock to me. Response number three was she asked me, do you ever, try on my clothes and wear my clothes and stuff, which I didn't. That was not my flavor of gay. And that was the beginning of this conversation. And I share this with you because all the stories I had in my head, none of them were the response of what the reality was. I was terrified. And it took a brush with death, with this car accident, to finally bring it forth in me to realize that I could have died in that moment and never told her about who I truly am, who I am as my authentic self. That I could have died in that moment and never lived as my authentic self. That I had shrunk myself down into the American dream. We had a great job, good retirement, good benefits, wife, child, house, all of that. What I have now is a husband that loves me, and in a love that I thought I had with my wife, but it could never truly be because of my attraction to men. There just couldn't be that full love. My daughter, now is 20 years old, is living with me, and we are starting this beautiful life in another country, in Spain. Never did I dream of any of this. And we don't know what we don't know. We don't know what the future is going to be. We don't know the response of the person when we tell them. This is a difficult situation to go through, and especially to go through alone. I didn't have anybody at that time to talk to. I mean, literally my wife was my best friend, and I couldn't even tell her. So I felt so alone. I felt guilty. I felt shame. And you don't have to do this alone. If you are in this situation, I do offer one-on-one coaching. Be a link in the description. I do what I call a 5-day challenge to clarity that is totally free. Needed somebody in my corner going through that. And then once, from the moment I came out, it was 10 years before we actually separated and divorced. And in that 10-year span, I felt so lost because I didn't feel quite like I was straight or belonging in the straight world, and I didn't feel quite like I was belonging in the gay world. So I struggled a lot emotionally during those years. My switch was reaching out to somebody that was outside of our circle of friends, outside the family, outside someone that could look at it from a different perspective. Having a life coach or a therapist or someone that, especially that has been there before and lived that experience, to be able to just vent to and role play conversations with and just have someone to kind of hold your hand to guide you through was the changing factor of everything. You don't know what you don't know. So try to calm those thoughts down and simply reach inside, embrace your magic. And when you embrace your magic, then you are open to live your dreams. Do subscribe if you like content like this on coming out later in life, navigating the coming out process to yourself, to loved ones, as well as that journey of creating your second act in life.